4. No cell signal. 911 won't connect. People cried out in panic. Of course, anyone capable of setting up an air barrier in an amusement park could certainly jam cell signals with relative ease. What's the next ride? I asked Yui, then immediately regretted it. We weren't players. We were toys being toyed with. The real player remained hidden in the shadows. Was it Kento, the streamer who'd invited us? Hopefully the next ride isn't something like the spinning chairs or Ferris wheel, I said, imagining people being flung dozens of meters into the air before plummeting and shattering on the ground. I swallowed hard. It's probably the harness breaking and flinging us away. That kind of death would be horrible. Another reason I didn't mention was that I was afraid of heights. But speaking of the devil, the Ferris wheel lit up. Man, this thing was huge, had to be at least 330 feet tall. I actually think the Ferris wheel is nice, Yui said, casually walking toward it. Very romantic. I didn't find the Ferris wheel romantic, but since we were here, I'd have to push through whatever came next. We boarded the Ferris wheel, and the car windows were open. I immediately thought that if the wheel accelerated, it could easily throw us out the windows, so I went through and carefully shut each one, checking them repeatedly. Yui just sat there watching. The wheel started, and the car slowly ascended. Many others followed us onto different cars. Even in life-or-death situations, herd mentality is powerful. The moment the last person sat down, the Ferris wheel suddenly accelerated. I was almost grateful I'd closed the windows until I was slammed hard against Yui. Sorry, it's moving so fast. Unbuckle, Yui shouted. What? I immediately understood. The Ferris wheel continued accelerating. Once we hit critical speed, we'd be knocked around inside the car until we either lost consciousness, which would probably be right before we died. I quickly unbuckled and tied myself to my seat with my belt. Yui had no belt, so she removed her jacket, using it as rope to secure herself to her seat as well. Now the car was spinning at maximum speed. We held onto each other tightly as we were tossed around inside, but the knots were strong enough that we didn't hit the ceiling. The window of the neighboring car suddenly showed a splash of blood. I saw a passenger's face twisted in agony. Next, the passenger in another car screamed as they were flung upward, the price of not closing the windows. I felt like my blood was spinning, the centrifugal force making my veins scream in pain. Yui had gone limp, probably passed out. Passing out was actually a mercy. I don't know how long it lasted. Just when my brain was about to lose consciousness, I felt the Ferris wheel slowing down. Yui slowly came to. Is it over? It should be. I couldn't be certain until that cheerful music and familiar voice came for the second time. Game time ended. Congratulations, players. You've cleared the Ferris wheel. The next challenges are even more exciting. When the car descended close enough to the ground, I pulled the still unsteady Yui and jumped down. Some passengers on the ground were vomiting constantly. Others had blood pouring down their faces like ghosts. But at least they were alive. I saw several cars at the base of the Ferris wheel with no one getting out, just blood covering every window and wall. But I was too exhausted to feel hatred toward whoever was orchestrating all this. I had to survive. That was my redemption.